Hello and welcome back to Drunk Approach, and today we'll be drinking an Angelo Peretti, which as far as I can gather is a poor man's Birra Moretti, but they were on offer at Lidl, and I'm going to be drinking it out of my pint glass today. A bit of decorum, a bit of class, because we're going to quite a classy place today. Bear with me one moment. Now the key to a good pour, please take note, the angle of the glass. Very key. And then straighten up, pour a bit faster, and you should get a decent head on the top. Little top tip for you on Drunk Approach. That is how you pour a beer. Cheers. Nearly spilt that all over myself. So as you can see, we have a very exciting plane today. I'm going to be doing a tutorial on this Boeing 747. The queen of the skies. It doesn't really fly anywhere anymore, but it was an absolute beast. It still is. Now this is the Sparky 747. It's free online. You can download it now. I've heard some really good reviews about it, and I thought, you know what? I've never really flown a 747. I've never really learnt it, so I'll commit to this. I've downloaded it, and I'm really impressed. So we're going to be flying from Heathrow to Nice today, because Nice is near Monaco, and I just kind of want to go to Monaco. And there's no airport in Monaco, so if you want to go to Monaco, you've got to fly to Nice and then get a bus or something, or a fancy cab or a limousine if you're posh and rich, which most people who go to Monaco are. I've got the One World livery, so if you are going to download this, I recommend the One World livery, because the inside of the plane, in the cabin, looks a lot nicer than the default, so definitely do that. I have got a plug-in, as you can see, this ground handling equipment, free online. I think it's called Jar Design Ground Handling. I didn't pay for it, but the default version, the unpaid version, is actually set up to work with a 747. So I thought, you know what, I'll just do that. So yeah, we've got our staircase, we've got GPU unit, we've got fuel, we've got a fire engine here for when I inevitably set the plane on fire, ambulance for all the horribly injured passengers and the deceased. What we'll do is just show off one of the features of this plane. Let's open the door. Let's open the door. There we go. I pressed the wrong key. So here we get a cool door here, and it's all modelled inside, and I think that's a pretty neat feature. The only other door that works on here, none of these work, but oh no, I've just closed that door. Open this door. There you go. That opens. Not very helpful, because I don't think any of the ground handling actually reaches up there, but it's a nice feature. We'll close that. So yeah, I'm basically going to show you how to set this up from cold, dark start up to flying it, show you some of the autopilot stuff. Because it's freeware, there are a few little bugs here and there, and some things don't quite work as well as you'd like them to, but overall this is a bloody good plane. So let me show you inside now. So this is the cockpit, really nice textures, it's very well modelled. You can see, I'll just do a quick look around, it's really nice. It's very good. This is freeware. This is freeware, and I think it's easy to forget how good that is. But everything looks fantastic. And what we will do as well is I'll show you inside the passenger area. So I click that, opens the door. How nice. And yes, this is what I mean about the livery, the One World livery, being a really good one to download, because this looked kind of crap in the default. It was all sort of brown and kind of poorly modelled, but with the One World livery it kind of redoes the inside, and you get these cool pillows and nice little features here and there. So this obviously would be the first class area, and we can just go along here, down the stairs, and this is where the cattle go. This is where the standard passenger seats are. So look, it's nothing crazy advanced, it's nothing like unbelievably high quality, but I think it's a bloody good bit of modelling for a freeware. I think the maximum capacity for this plane is 400 passengers, so they all get squeezed into here, and yeah, they've got screens on the back of the seats as well. I think the back of the seats, yeah, there you go. So it's cool. I really like it. I've never been on a 747. I've never been on a British Airways One World 747, obviously, either. So I don't know how accurate this is, but it looks pretty good. Can I open the toilet? Can I just go through the door? And look, they've modelled the toilet. Nice. And they've even tried to make the reflection in the mirror. So let's start setting up this plane. So we'll start up here, and the first thing to do is battery on. There you go. It's got a little protector thing there. And then our standby power is going to go to auto, and we can put our nav lights on, and our left and right utility goes on as well. And now we need to connect the GPU. Now, even though my ground handling plugin has a GPU unit right there, that's not actually connected. The GPU is just modeling. So we need to actually go into the FMC to set up the GPU. So this is the FMC. If we go here, we go ground handling, and you get a few options here in terms of ground services, ground power. Click that, and now we are connected to the GPU. And because of that, if we go up here, you can see that external power is available on external power 1 and 2. So we're going to go bang, bang. Now the one problem with this plane is it doesn't have really like a tablet to set up the weights and the fuel and everything. You do have to do that through the standard X-plane kind of menu system. So we'll go onto this plane, and we've got to input it in here, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. So we have our information from SimBrief. So our fuel is going to be 30. Oh, not 30 kilograms, 30 tons. That gives us 1 hour 45 flight time. Now this flight is meant to be, I think, 1 hour 50 odd. But that's 1:45 at a normal cruise. So I'm tempted to add more weight, to be honest. So I'm going to put 35 tons of fuel in, just so we don't catch ourselves short. Yeah, that gives us 202, so that makes me feel a bit more comfortable. Payload weight is going to be 41.7 tons. So 41,700. No, one less zero. There we go. Nice. And that's pretty much all you can do in here. Obviously, you can see it's put the fuel in the left and right wings. There'll be no fuel in the center. And so, yeah, our empty weight is going to be 184.5, which sounds about right. And total weight, 261 tons. Now we need to go back to the FMC, go back to our ground handling, and there's an option here for PAX cargo, passengers cargo. Click that, and we want a full plane, so I'm going to go, yeah. So that's a payload of 49.9, it's saying, which is a bit more than what we put in originally, but that's fine. The plane knows that's in there, so that's okay. So the cargo apparently is 10 tons. So I've not actually tried this before, but let me just see what happens. Okay. So I can put it in the forward and the aft. So that's increased our payload to 59.9. Yeah, it's confusing because I never know if the payload in the SimBrief includes the cargo. It doesn't look like it does, but on here it counts payload as the passengers, their weight, their baggage, and the cargo combined. I'm happy with that. Yeah. So that will do for that. Let's start the APU. So to do that, we go up here, APU on, give that a few seconds, and then click and hold on start, and in a moment it'll automatically switch back to on. I'm holding it to start, I'm holding it, and then it switches back. And that means that the APU has started successfully. And then we can turn on some electric stuff, so bus ties, they all go on. Same with these guys, they all get switched as well. And then we've got to align the plane. We do that here with this IRS switch, and also this one, and also this one. And then you can see here, now the APU started, our APU generators are available, so we can switch that and that. and we go down to our hydraulics here. Now, I think, what did I write in my notes? These all just go on for now, like that, and we switch them all on here. And then if we're being really sort of serious about things, we can do an engine fire test thing. So that is this one here. So we hold that, and that basically is just testing the alarm systems if everything bursts into flames. And then looking a bit further down here, window heat can go on. And just to prepare for us starting the plane, in terms of ignition switches, we want that switched to 1. Yaw dampers, upper and lower, they get switched on. And then just looking at our air conditioning stuff and our temperature stuff, trim air needs to be switched on. Pop on our upper and lower recirculation, and we can put our APU bleed on now that that's all up and running. And just looking at our packs, we want these isolation valves activated, and switch our packs to normal. Now, do I need to do all 3 to normal? No, just 1 and 2 for now. So packs 1, packs 3 to normal. Engine bleeds go on as well. So yeah, a lot of clicking and button pressing there, but we can now go down here and turn on our no smoking and seatbelts. Lovely. And you can hear the sort of in-flight voiceover thing, telling passengers to get sat down, that kind of stuff. Nice details, and like for a freeware, that is quite impressive. Now we go back to our FMC, go back to our ground handling, and we can remove the chocks and just double check that our parking brake is on. Now the parking brake has been temperamental, I've found, but it's here. So if I click that, come on, there we go. Yeah, parking brake set. Sometimes it doesn't do it, so you've got to be wary of that. But generally it works. Okay, so we'll go back to the FMC, we'll click menu, and we'll go FMC, and it's now time to start aligning stuff and getting all this stuff set up. So you can see we have a GPS setting here, which is already working out where we are location wise. I'm going to put in our reference airport, so that's EGLL. There we go. Gate, what gate was I at? 538. 538. 538. So this is just telling the plane where we are, basically. We take the GPS position, put it there, and I think that aligns us. There we go. It knows where we are now. Yeah, I might have done that wrong, but that's how I've found it to work. And if we click through, yeah, everything looks good on that front. And let's click route. And so this is when we start putting in all the exciting information. So we are at Heathrow, we are flying to Nice, the code of which is LFMN. Co-route, there we go, and hopefully it has this saved somewhere. There it is. I went straight past it. EGLL LFMN. Click that. It puts in our origin, our destination. It's asking for a flight number. If you've watched my videos before, I always go for 4427. And then we're going to press execute. And then that's all locked in. Just check that our departure and arrivals information is correct. So yeah, runway 27 right. Maxi 1F is going to be the departure. Yep, that's fine. Cool. Go back, go to our arrival, and yeah, it's going to be runway 4 left. The transition, I'm just checking Navigraph to make sure that's all right. Yeah, must 2, and the star is Nisa 7R. Yeah, lovely stuff. So that's all looking good, and we can flick through the legs of this journey. So what I'm going to do is change this map to go to plan, because we're looking at our flight plan. There we go. And then we get this step button here. When you press plan, you get the step button. So if I keep pressing step, then you'll see, there we go, it's drawing our route out. And so I'm just flicking through basically just to make sure that there's nothing weird, no weird kind of detours, no discontinuities. All looking good so far. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with all that, to be honest. Looks good. No obvious issues, so I'm going to call that all good. Go back to map on here. Init ref. Here we go. Performance. Right, and we've got some things to put in here. So our cruising altitude is going to be... Oh, stuff in here from earlier. Go away. There we go. 370, so it's 37,000 feet. We abbreviate that to 370. This is the thing. There are some things a bit buggy about this. Unable to do this altitude at this point. I just clear them and just don't worry about it. 0 fuel weight. So that is going to be 4.8. I think it was. Yeah. Put that in there. Reserves, there was going to be 5% of reserves, but to be honest, I'd rather there be 10. So we'll put 10 reserves in. Cost index 50. And you set this all up in SimBrief. That's why I know these figures. It's not just like me just saying random numbers. We'll go thrust limit. That's all fine. I never really mess around with this stuff. I don't fully understand it, to be honest. I think there's different kind of throttle settings for when we're doing our climb, but I just don't care. Takeoff. This is a bit more interesting. So, flaps. We're going to go flaps 10 for the takeoff, and that's automatically given us our V speed, so V1, VR, and V2. I'm going to make a note of the V2 speed, which is 157. You'll see in a moment why. 157, and then this trim CG button, if we click there, it's going to give us the trim that we need for takeoff. So 3.7 is what we've got there. So what I'll do is I'll do that now and set it. So this is our trim kind of graph, I guess, and I have a button programmed on my what do you call this, yoke, which means I can adjust it very slowly. But yeah, so 3.7, obviously I'm not going to get it bang on because it's not massively accurate, but what's 3.7? Around there, probably? Yeah, we'll call it there. As long as it's lower than this green level, as long as it's lower than that, it'll be fine. You won't get any warning messages. I forgot to set this the first time I trialed this earlier today, and my trim was above the green level, sort of up here, and it gave me loads of warnings and it didn't like it. So as long as it's below the green, then you're sound. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the performance references for now. We'll do a few more bits when we're actually up in the air, but let's go back up here and start fiddling around with some more things. So what you have to do now, which is a little bit strange, is change these hydraulic pumps. So the first one, we're going to put that into auto, and the fourth one, we're going to put that down to aux. I don't know why, but that's what it says to do when I did some research, so we will do that. And then our takeoff course, we need to set that in the heading dial. So that's up here on the MCP panel. So our takeoff course heading 269. Scrolled the wrong way. 269. Then we're going to go back up here and turn our fuel pumps on. So all those ones with pressure next to them, those need to be switched on. And then we need to set our altimeter. So to do that, we go to this dial here, and it's going to change that value there. So I've just flicked that to HPA because that's the unit of value I'm using for this, and today it's 1021, so pop that up there, 1021. That's all set. We're also going to turn our VOR left and VOR right on, and that brings up these things. Basically means that if we're going to be doing an ILS landing today, but if it all goes tits up, then I can use VOR to help me land. I've not ever had to do that, but it's there in principle. And then we can flick on our flight directors, that's 1 and 2. Arm the auto throttle, turn on our LNAV and VNAV, and you can see here that our speed indicator has just flashed up 157. Now sometimes it doesn't do that, sometimes it doesn't actually take the speed from the FMC, you've got to put it in manually, but that is our V2 speed, which is why I made a note of it earlier in case it didn't work. But it did work, and that's good news. And we're going to set our initial altitude, which is going to be 6,000, because that's the transition altitude coming out of Heathrow. Once we're at 6,000, we'll obviously increase it to 37,000, which is going to be our cruising altitude today. Back up here, we're going to put some packs. So yeah, pack 1 and this one as well are going off. We're going to put our beacon light on now as well. There we go. And that cues another announcement from the onboard voiceover. Can you hear that? Okay, so we're going to have to assume at this point that everyone's actually boarded the plane. So we're going to close the door. See that door there? Look at that. Lovely. And we're going to get out our jar ground handling plug-in thing. There we go. And so if I press drive away, hopefully everything will do that. It's obviously just a basic version of this plugin that I've got, but I'm hoping. Well, the limousine. Oh, look, the buses are going away, so that's good. Oh yeah, ambulance is leaving. Nice. It's a really smart little plugin. Like, it just adds a bit of realism, and I like it. It makes me feel like I'm a real pilot, which is the whole point of this, isn't it, really? So everyone's gone now, so we are pretty much ready for pushback. So what we'll do is we'll go to Better Pushback. I have that as a plugin as well. It's free, it's really good. And I need to know where we're pushing back to be fair. So I'll show you how I make this decision. So this is the Heathrow Airport map. We are obviously parked there. We need to go over there. So I'm going to push back to the plane's right. So that's going to be that way. And we'll put it like there. Yeah. Press enter.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledge. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
I'm happy with everything, so we are going to go back here and we're going to start pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
And if we go outside, there's a building in the way, but there you are. You'll see in a moment a little pushback tug will appear. There he is. Here we go.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Don't balls it up. Don't you ruin my 747. I've just downloaded it. I'll be very cross.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Release parking brake, so go back in here. It's very loud in here, isn't it? So handbrakes here. Push that forwards.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
And we may start engines. So whilst it's pushing us back, we can get things up and running here. We're going to put engines 3 and 4 to run, and then go up here and click 3 and 4. And we should see these two engines starting to spool up, which they are. You can just about make it out. The graphics aren't amazing, but there you go. Things are rotating there, which is good. And when they're up and running, we'll know that because A, these will have stabilized, which they nearly have, and B, these switches that have lit up, helpfully, will switch off and go dark again. So let's just wait for that. There we are. Go back down here. 1 and 2 engines. Back up here. 1, 2. It's a magnificent beast, this plane. Look at it. Look how high up the pilots are. Like, it's insane. I do love it. I love watching the pushback tug. It's so brilliant. It's a great little plug-in. And there we are. It's quite quiet at the airport today.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Set parking brake, so we'll go back in here. Set the parking brake. There we go.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
And now it's disconnecting the tow. Whilst it's doing that, we can switch off our APU. That can go off now. And these packs all go to normal. And then these pumps here, these demand pumps, all go to on, I think. Is it auto? Oh no, it's auto. They all go to auto. So auto, auto, auto. We're going to open our X feeds as well, like that. And if we go down here, we need to put our auto brakes to RTO, and we can just set up the flight stuff. So our trim we set earlier, but our flaps we need to set to 10. There we are. And there we are. The pushback tug has disappeared. We are on our own power, and we're just going to check that everything is working. So I want to check my nose wheel steering first. Yeah, that's good, using the pedals. Check the ailerons, I think they're called, which are working left and right, and just check the arse of the plane, and just check that if I pull up, there we go, and pull down, yeah, everything is working as one would expect. And just before we get going, let's turn on some lights. So taxi lights, runway lights, turn off lights, and we are now ready to taxi to our runway. So let's have a look at the map. Basically, we're going all the way forwards, turn right, all the way down there, and we start our takeoff from runway 27 right. Okay, so parking brake is off. I'm going to increase throttle just a little bit. And there we are. And for a big plane, it has quite a quick sort of thrust on it. It's obviously very heavy. We're 274 tons or something like that. Maybe a bit less, but 200 odd tons of plane. And I'm just moving along like it's a Cessna at the moment. It's lovely. There we go. Lovely day as well in London, very clear, which is very good for my FPS because my computer is shite. I am using real weather as well, so this is the actual weather today in London. Yes, it's not raining and it's not cloudy in the UK. A good day for flying. Okay, our first big turn here, so I'm just going to go throttle off and just apply a bit of toe brake because this plane is big. It's very big. So you've got to take the corner nice and wide. Add a bit more throttle now, just so we don't get stuck in the turn. We can see that's gone pretty well. It does feel like you're sort of driving a bus with this thing. Just everything is a bit slower and a bit... You've got to take the corners a bit wider, but it's quite smooth. It's just, you've got to be careful, because if I turn too tightly, then to correct that turn it takes a while to then straighten up, because it is an enormous plane. It's just huge. I mean, look at the state of it. Look at that. Look at that. It's ridiculous. Okay, we're going to just slow down here, a little bit of toe brakes. Don't want to overheat the brakes too much, but just slowing it down. And to get round this corner. Lovely. Come here, because I can actually see a plane coming in. That's my Traffic Global add-on. So if we go outside the plane, we can watch it land. See that plane there? See it? If I go into free camera mode, we can zoom in, try and work out what kind of plane it is. What is that? Is that an A320? Or it's definitely one of the A320 family. Could be an A330. Can't really tell. I'm a plane nerd, but not that much of a plane nerd. Let's see how he lands here. He's coming in pretty low. Okay. Pretty good, to be fair. Came in quite fast, didn't he? But, hey, he got it down. And it is also AI, so it's not going to be the best. Are there any other planes that are going to ruin everything? Doesn't look like it. We'll go in here and turn our radio to TARA, our transponder, not our radio. Strobe light. Where's that? Strobe. Where's the strobe light? Oh, it's there, right in front of me. To be honest, we'll just put landing lights on now. Okay, tow brakes off, increased thrust. And to be honest, we could probably do a rolling takeoff here. Probably shouldn't in a 747, but this is my plane. I'll do what I want with it. So just bring it round. It's going to be a toga takeoff as well. So we're going to go full throttle. There we are. Straighten up a little bit. Okay, engine to 50%. Nice. All looking stable. Toga, which is full throttle. So I'm just using the pedals to keep everything straight here. You can hear the engines whirring up. V1, so I'm just going to slowly lift the nose. There we are.
Positive rate.
Positive rate. Gear goes up. Which button is that? There we go. And there we are. We are up in the sky. So I'm going to kill some of the flaps. That's looking good. Gonna keep going up, kill the flaps again. Nice. And flaps one more time, and we're taking a left turn immediately. So I'm gonna hand fly this for a little bit, just to show you what it's like to handle. That is now all our flaps in. It's taken over control of our speed because we're on a toga thrust reference takeoff, so it's just monitoring our speed. It won't let us go over 250 for now. In a moment though, I'll press autopilot and it'll start doing everything itself. But yeah, I'm not flying this very steadily. We do have a big left turn coming up now as well, which I'm a bit late for, but that's fine. There we go. Oh, and it's just become misty and cloudy just as I get in the air. That's annoying. But yeah, all feeling nice at the moment. Flaps are in, gears up. I'm happy with how the engines are performing. Speed's good. We should be at 250 really. We're at 260, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. This is what I mean. It's not perfect. It's not perfect in terms of the autopilot and the computer systems, but it's pretty good. It's better than some payware planes that I've bought in terms of just the look, the feel. It handles really nicely as well. It's a lovely plane to fly. Very smooth. Look outside. Looks great, doesn't it? Looks great. It's very loud out here though. Very loud. Okay, so I'm now going to engage autopilot. There we are. Whoa. A little bit of a jolt. But we're in. And you can see it's holding us at 6,000 feet, because that's the initial altitude that we popped in. So just to prepare for this next climb, it's a bit dark in here, I do apologise, but we're going to increase that to 37,000 feet. There we go. And basically, when we're ready, I'm going to click the altitude button, and it'll start climbing to 37,000 feet on the 37,000 feet on the VNAV path. Okay, so all looking good. We're going to press the altitude button now, and that's going to take us to 37,000 feet. And it all looks to be going okay. You can see here we're at VNAV speed, LNAV's activated, thrust reference all good, and this is our vertical speed increasing. We're at 10,000, so we can turn off our landing lights. We can also, if we go here, go to standard altimeter, and that basically means that we're not dialing in the local air pressure at Heathrow anymore. We're just flying on standard air pressure. And there we are, just leaving the south coast of England. It's all looking good. You can tell it's battling quite a crosswind because, I mean, look at that. We are heading in that direction generally, but the plane is pointing that way. And I'm just a bit worried that it might be taking us off our autopilot route here. So what I'm doing is I'm just editing the flight plan here, because we went off course, I think because of my hand flying maybe. So we've basically skipped a few waypoints, which is fine, it'll all be okay. I just need to tell the computer that yes, we've skipped those points, now fly to Hawk, which hopefully it can recover to in time, and then we'll get back onto our flight path. It's annoying and a bit fiddly because this FMC is quite basic, but that hopefully has solved the issue. We'll know if it's solved the issue because it's flying to Hawk now, which is good, but it then needs to continue on this next path. So if it starts turning right now, or any moment now, then we know it's fixed itself. If it just flies directly forwards and doesn't anticipate this, then that's not as good. But hopefully it wakes up. Come on, turn right. Turn right. Yes, it is. You can see the flight directors pulling to the right, and we are now back on course. So that's just a quick way of fixing that problem. It happens if, for example, in your flight plan there's a corner that's just too tight for the plane, therefore it just goes wide and then misses it, and then the FMC and is telling the LNAV and the VNAV, oh, you need to go back to that waypoint, we missed it, which is obviously not ideal because you want to just continue going and just, you know, okay, I missed that waypoint, now let's go to the next one. That's what happened there. To fix it, you saw me do it, but I'll just explain in a bit more detail. For example, if I missed Axamab, whatever it is. If I missed it and I thought, oh no, well, I need to fly to Vieul, then I would click Vieul, which would bring it into my scratch pad here, and then click Axamab. And that would basically skip out Axamab and then take us to Vieul. So that's the way it works when you miss a waypoint. One thing that has confused me though is these are all the altitudes. 6435, 6435, 6435, which is wrong. I don't know why it's done that necessarily. I'm just going to go into our performance page, which we do by going to menu, FMC. No, what was it? Where's the performance? Init ref. That's it. Init ref. Performance. Yeah, and our cruising altitude is 370. I'm just going to put that in again. Come on. And hopefully that's changed the legs. There we go. There we go. So that's changed it all to 370. We're not at 370 now, but it's okay. That's fine. We are climbing to it. And yes, you can see later in the flight plan, it decreases as we descend. So, a little kind of tutorial there on how to fix a few problems that can come up. But we are back on track. We're at 26,500 feet. You can see our speed's gone up to 272. Our actual true speed is around 400 knots though. And now that we're climbing at a steady state, I'm going to turn the seatbelts off. Oh, I left the door open. That's bad practice, really. Let's go out and see what's going on. How everyone's finding the flight. You okay? Yes? You enjoying yourself? Yes? Really easy crowd, to be honest. No chat back at all. There we go. Not much to see. But there's the Rolls-Royce engines, you can see. Rolls-Royce, Rolls-Royce. No, it's all looking great. Whoever modelled this put the time on backwards. So it's meant to be 9:32, I think, on there, but it's backwards. It's fine. Wonder what the toilet's like for first class. Is it nicer than the one downstairs? No. It is exactly the same. No mirror either. Arguably it's worse. That's the view from the lower deck. You can see we're just going into a left turn now, so seeing the wing go into the sky. Where's the bar? I'd like to know where the bar is, please. Surely they've modelled a bar at the front. There's more first class seating at the front of the plane on the lower deck. Is that the bar? Oh, this might be the bar. It's kind of a bar. I'm guessing that's where all the food goes and stuff. This is also backwards. But the exit sign's not backwards, but everything else is. Okay. This is right at the front of the plane, the furthest we can get forward. Look at that. But yeah, like I say, it's really well modelled, you know, for a Freeware. Really immersive, very pleased with it. I've pretty much explored everywhere you can go now. Oh, what's back here? What we got back here? Oh, more food. And I'm guessing, yeah.
Oil, rope, bombs. You want it? It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rupees. Sorry, Link. I can't give credit. Come back when you're a little richer.
What the hell was that?
Lamp oil, rope, bombs. You want it? It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rupees. Sorry, Link. I can't give credit. Come back when you're a little richer.
What is that? I'm going away from this place. There's some dodgy guys back there. I have no idea what that was about. It's clearly a little Easter egg they've planted in there with some obnoxious American guy making fun of someone for not being rich enough, even though they're in the standard class area and not in first class. A little bit rich, if you ask me, but, you know. So, we are at 37,000 feet. We are at our 0.826 Mach airspeed, and for now we can just relax and enjoy the views. Okay, we are back, and we've been cruising for a while now. I turned off the recording because there wasn't really much interesting going on. We're getting towards the point where we need to start thinking about our descent. So let's look at our navigraph and look at our approach chart. Come on. There we go. So this is where we are flying to. Nice Airport. It's right on the coast, so we're going to expect a pretty strong breeze, I'd imagine, but we can worry about that a little bit later. So we need to be going to 4,000 feet. That's when we will intercept our ILS. Our ILS frequency is 109.95 as well. So let's firstly put in that altitude of 4,000. There we are. We can go into our FMC. You can see that shortly we will be initiating that descent. If we zoom out on here, there we go. You can see there is our takeoff descent point as well. Now, when I tried this out earlier today, when I was just kind of testing the plane, this was problematic. The descent was very problematic. It descended too late, it was too fast, it was a bit of a nightmare. So I'm going to initiate our descent now. So I'm pressing that button there, and there we go. And we just got to keep an eye on that because it gets confused. So it will start descending in a little bit once we get to that point, but I'm just locking it in now. We'll see how it goes. We might need to use vertical speed to kind of get things moving, but for now I'm happy. Let's go to our init ref, performance, thrust limit, yes, approach. So here we put in basically what we're going to be expecting in terms of flaps. We're going to go full flaps, so 3148, put that in there. I'm going to make a note of that just so I know when we are approaching what that needs to be. Then we need to check our nav radio just to see if everything's in there. It's not. So what I'm going to do is dial in our ILS frequency, which is 109.95. Put that there. So it's got runway 4 right for some reason, and LIPZ. That is not where we're going. It's got the heading right, 42 degrees, but that runway is wrong. So it's going to take us to 4 right here. Well, let's see what it decides to do when we get nearer the point, but we could end up landing on the right-hand runway. I don't really know why it's got LIPZ and why it's got 4 right. Okay, this is what I mean. There are bugs, there are things that don't work perfectly well, so we just have to watch out for those things. Meanwhile, we are about to approach our descent point, so let's just see what happens here. It should, once we pass that green point, start descending. But I don't trust this plane. I really don't. We'll open another can of Peretti. The poor man's Moretti. It's nice though, I have to say. For a poor man's Moretti, I'm pleased. Angle on the paw, very important. Remember what I taught you at the start of the video, so paw, 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 paw. Keep it going. Nice and smooth, nice and smooth. Then we get to this point, turn, and we get a nice head on the top. Look at that. I'm in the wrong job. Whilst pouring that beer, we have just about crossed our descent point. Will the plane descend? I'm looking for this indicator here. It should dip. It should dip. Is it going to dip? It is. It is dipping. Okay. That's good. Now naturally, because we're dipping, the speed's going to increase, so we need to watch that a little bit as well. Okay, auto brakes we'll sort out now as well. We're going to put them at 2. That should be fine. Some nice views outside. Lovely, lovely stuff. That, I believe, is that the Alps? Must be the Alps. Yeah, let's have a look at our Navigraph. Where are we? Yeah. Are we calling that the Alps? I think we are. Because that's Grenoble. Yeah. That is the Alps. How lovely. How lovely. Not a bad shot, that, is it? That might be the video thumbnail if I screen grab that. So far so good. We're at 31,000 feet. If we look at our FMC, in 2 nautical miles we should be at flight level 2,600. Or 26,000 I should say. Which is not what we're at. And this is what I mean. it can be temperamental. So I am going to probably take over here because I'm not thrilled about how that's looking. We will turn on the seatbelts. That is best. Okay, in 9 miles I need to be at 16,000 feet. I think that is achievable, to be fair, because we're at 19,900 feet. We are descending a bit slowly though, I have to say. Okay, it's not descending as quickly as I'd like, so we are going to click the vertical speed knob and we're going to increase that vertical speed to 3,000 feet, and that should just increase our rate of descent. The throttle should compensate and make sure that we don't overspeed, although shortly we'll take over speed manually. Okay, 7 miles, we need to be at 12,000 feet. I think that should be achievable. I'm going to add a bit of speed brake because our pace has just increased a little bit. I am going to decrease our speed now to 240 and use some speed brake. I'm going to just increase our vertical speed again. I'm just conscious that I want to be on the ILS intercept altitude in time. I balls this up when I was trying this earlier today, and it's because I didn't descend soon enough because the VNAV profile just wasn't accurate. 10,000 feet just called out, so we are going to go landing lights down. So the weather in Nice, 1015 is what we want on here, so 1015, it's very small in writing, so you might not be able to see it, but there we go, 1015 dialed in. We will be getting to 4,000 feet a little bit early, but to be honest, I don't mind that. I do not mind that at all. I'd rather be there than be too late, because once we press that approach button, it's hard to recover if you're not in the right place. We are going to have a pretty strong crosswind. If I look on here, flights, yeah, so there's going to be a 14 knot crosswind. We'll be able to deal with it. It'll be fine. It'll be all fine. Speed 240, so we're going to now decrease that to 230, or maybe 220 to be fair. In fact, let's go 200. And we're going to go flaps down, and we're going to go flaps down again, and we're going to go flap down again. We'll say 215 actually, I don't want to go too slowly. We're going to go flaps 30 if you remember for this landing, so that is full flap. So we've got 1, 2, 3 more notches of flaps to go up. We need to be at a landing speed of 148 and increase flaps again. We're doing a big turn now, and we still don't know what runway, by the way, we are aiming for here, because my sim brief and FMS data was 4 left. But when I put the frequency into the FMC, it decided it's actually going to be 4 right. I don't really know where we're going to be landing, but those, if you can see in the distance, there and there are the 2 runways. We'll be landing at one of them. Okay, we're going to go flaps again and flaps again. We're going to decrease our speed a little bit to 185. We are on the right heading. We'll dial it in anyway, just because it's good to do. So 42. Good. And soon we will press the approach button. This plane is really hard to land. Really hard. It's heavy. Again, I don't know what runway it's aiming for. I think it's left. It looks like left. I don't know why it said right on the nav radio, but I'm happy so far. We're going to decrease speed now to 175. In fact, we'll go 160. And that warning is config the gear, landing gear, which I wasn't going to do yet, but if you're going to shout at me, then fine. Gear is coming down. Okay, we're going to press the approach button now. Glide slope is illuminated. GS is activated. And it looks like it is aiming us towards the left-hand runway, which is what we wanted. So let's keep our speed here for now. But you can see just the plane rocking. It is windy. It is windy. this is going to be a hard landing. Not hard as in, well, it might be, but it's going to be difficult because it is a very, very large plane. Very large plane. Quite a cool shot here. Look at that air coming off the wing. Really cool. I don't know what the physics is behind that. I'm sure there's a reason. You see videos online all the time of 747s with this sort of crazy kind of air plumes coming off the wing. I don't know why. Someone, I'm sure, will explain it to me. But all looking good. How about outside the passenger window? Yeah, look at that. You wouldn't fancy seeing that, would you? Anyway, back to the action. I'm conscious that it's the shorter of the two runways, and I'm conscious that it's windy and I could balls this up. So what I'm going to do is increase our auto brakes to 3, just to give us a bit more stopping power once we do land. I'm now also going to decrease our speed to 150, because our landing speed is going to be 148. Flaps are full, speed brakes are in, although we will arm them. There we go. Fuel quantity low warning. That's troubling. This is what I mean. I put loads in the tank. There'll be enough to get us in. But there can't be any go-arounds. So, no pressure. Okay. We're at around 1,000 feet. There you go. I'm just going to keep it coming. I'm not going to go out of autopilot yet. What I will do is go out of auto throttle though. So I'm in charge now of our throttle regulation. Okay, that's 500 feet.
Glide slope.
And I am now just going to increase the throttle a bit more.
Glide slope. Glide slope.
I'm getting a glide slope warning, which is not what you want really at this point.
Glide slope.
I know, thank you.
Glide slope.
Disengaging autopilot.
Glide slope. Glide slope.
And we're going to land this plane, or at least try to.
Glide slope. 100. Glide slope.
Approaching minimum.
Glide slope.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And
speed brakes up.
Down. Whew. A little bit squirrely. Speed brakes have deployed. Auto brakes have deployed as well. We have landed. We did it. Thank God for that. That was nerve-wracking. It's a big plane. That is actually the best landing I've ever done with that plane, to be honest, as well. With a 14-knot crosswind and a very temperamental VNAV system in descent, I am really happy with that. Really happy with that. So we'll go flaps all in. Speed brake, pop that in as well. I don't really know where we're going. I assume left. And we should also put on our runway lights, taxi lights, and all that stuff. There we go. And we have arrived in lovely Nice. Good to see it. I mean, the graphics are appalling. I do apologise. I didn't actually check whether I had any good graphics on this airport. God, that looks terrible. Yeah, should have maybe downloaded some freeware before landing here. But anyway, we can ignore that. It's all fine. So there you have it. That is pretty much the tutorial on how to fly this Sparky 747. In terms of freeware, it's some of the best stuff you can get out there. Unbelievable job that he's done. There are little niggles, there are little issues, especially with the autopilot and VNAV and what have you, but as long as you're sort of on your feet, on your toes, and you kind of make the corrections that need making, like me taking over with vertical speed towards the end of that descent. I had to. We weren't descending at the right rate, and we would have missed the ILS intercept. So yeah, I think it's just being aware of stuff. You can't just leave it to fly it itself. But I don't mind that, because you want to be kind of proactive, don't you? But that is in essence how it works. Where should we park? An EasyJet flight there, getting ready to go. Let's chuck this in here. We'll just keep it coming through. Okay, so there we are. Handbrake on. Let's have a look. Handbrake on. Handbrake on. Why? Oh, it's because my throttle's still up. Why is the handbrake working? It's still not working. I don't know. I don't know why it's done that. Anyway, should we look at a replay of the landing? There you go. So you can see that crosswind coming in from the right-hand side. It was pretty nasty, that. Let's see how I handled it. Little bit of a float, but then down. Not bad. Not bad at all. You can see the plane tipping that way because of the wind coming off. It's quite aggressive. So there you go, you see just how much I'm having to point the plane to the right hand side to compensate for that wind. And that float just let me down a little bit, but got it down. Come back to the centre line. And there we have it. Yeah, the flare was good. Flaring good there, and then just that little float, but then, you know what? I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. You might disagree. I'm sure you will. There's a lot of smoke coming off in terms of the brakes. Not sure how realistic that is. We landed it. I shouldn't sound surprised, but, you know, I've had a few bad landings recently. Just not been in the right headspace for it. And of course, when I go back to the plane out of replay mode, tyre blown. That's another kind of annoying glitch, is that when you watch the replay, it adds the tyre heat from that landing to the plane that is in the game right now, not in replay mode. So when you come back out of replay mode, it bursts your tyres and it just sinks into the ground like that. But you can just ignore it. It's fine. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please like, subscribe. It really helps me get a bit of momentum in terms of getting more people's eyes on the videos, and hopefully people enjoy them. And if people enjoy them, then other people will probably enjoy them, and that's a good thing. So really appreciate the support. Hope this video was helpful, and I wish you a very good bye.